Over the past few years, the popular Caribbean festival held in Brooklyn known as Jouvert has been under fire, quite literally, due to the shootings and stabbings that often plague the carnival. While officials and law enforcement have made strides to fix this, the deaths have still occurred. According to the New York Times editorial, No Courage, No Peace in Brooklyn, the murders and stabbings, of which there are four in total, are grounds to change the festival or end it entirely, which is a claim of policy. While I agree that the festival should make changes, I ultimately think that the festival should be allowed to stay open because 1. The violence isn't proportionally high to the amount of people who attend, 2. Because crime in New York is lower than it has been in 10 years, and 3. The issues only rise very late at night, not during the day or early night. So let's dive in and see what we can find. So on to my first point. My first main point is that Jouvert is an event that proportionally doesn't have that much violence. According to a New York Times article, over 250,000 people attend the festival every single year, whether they be from Brooklyn or other parts of New York. To only have a few attacks of violence shows that police are doing something correctly. They've stepped up, whether it be with the number of enforcees, whether it be signs that are encouraging safety, whether it be more efforts to strengthen the community at large. Overall, New York is making efforts to make things better, and the fact that only a few instances of violence are occurring shows that something must be done correctly. Of course, we would want zero, but to expect something like that in a city like New York is nearly impossible, and to change an entire event that is so important to an entire community of people is probably more harming in the long run. To tell an entire group of Caribbean people that they can't celebrate what's so important to them, overall, I think would probably be more difficult to handle in the long run, and probably would lead to more violence because people would still want to celebrate. See, people would still put the effort in to celebrate, even though they're being told not to, which would probably incite more riots between the people and the police officers. Which leads me to my second point. My second point is that crime in New York is at an all-time low, and thus we should not be brought to the fear that the city or its people are in more danger. According to the New York Times crime census, the amount of murders in 2015 was 352. As opposed to 649 in 2001, or even 2,262 in 1990. Crime is down, so there's no reason to completely get rid of this festival due to only a few small number of accidents. This brings me to my third point. According to the New York Post, the first shootings happened at 3:45 a.m. at Flatbush Avenue and Empire Boulevard in Crown Heights, where Tyreek Burrell, 17 years old, was shot in the chest and died at Kings County Hospital, sources said. It is important to note that these acts of violence are occurring very late at night, around 3 or 4 in the morning. Clearly, we can't get rid of the entire festival when we know that only certain times seem to attract violence. What should be done is have focused police enforcement around these times. Unfortunately, we can't just ask people to stop celebrating right in the middle of the carnival, but maybe efforts could be made to change the times so that there are less people, or no people, out celebrating around 2 to 5 in the morning. Ultimately, we see that the popular festival Jouvert does not need to be shut down. We see that efforts could be made to change the times in which the carnival is held, but really, it would only be done if the people of Brooklyn wanted to. We see that with over 250,000 people attending this event, we still don't see that much violence. Second, crime is down in New York, more than it has been in any year. And third, the violence is only occurring very late at night, when crime typically happens anyway. In the end, this festival should continue. It needs to continue and be celebrated and cherished for and by the people who enjoy it.